Okay, hello everybody. So today's topic is going to be about the predicate. And we need to remember first that the basic sentence structure is the following. First, we have the subject, as you can see here in the yellow part. And then we have the predicate, that is everything else that is here in this white part. So let's take this example. It says the students are reading medical records. So the students is the subject because that is the doer of the action. That is the person or thing that is performing the action or living the state of being in the sentence. And then we have the predicate that has the verb in other parts. In this example, we have the verb that is are reading, and then we have other parts that is, in this case, an object, medical records. So first of all, we need to remember that before recognizing the predicate and its parts, we need to know what is the subject. So that's the very first thing that we need to do. And today we're going to be focusing on the predicate. So let's define it first. It tells something about the subject. In the predicate, there is always the verb. And here we have an example of a verb. So in this sentence, it says, he sent a letter to his wife. In this case, he is the subject. Send is the verb. And then we have other parts of the predicate. So the predicate here is from send to his wife, to that part. Okay? And this is the rest of the predicate in the sentence. So here we have send, as we were saying, that is the verb, that is the action in this case. And we have other parts in this predicate that is a letter and to his wife. Those parts are called objects. And we're going to be discussing this in some seconds. But first we need to focus on the verb. So a verb can be an action or a state. In this case, here we have a sentence, an example. It says, the student writes in the computer. Here the verb is writes. This is an action. The student is the subject. And this is an action because the student is actively doing something with his body or his mind. And in this case, we have another example that says, Ben is tall. Here, Ben is the subject, is the verb, and then we have the rest of the sentence or the rest of the predicate. In this case, is a state of being because Ben is doing nothing. The verb is just describing him or his existence. And besides the verb in the predicate, we have other parts. There are a lot of them, but today we're going to focus on objects, okay? So we have here a direct object and an indirect object. In this case, a direct object is the thing or person that receives the action from the verb. We must find it after we know what is the subject and what is the verb. And we find it by asking to the subject and the verb the question what. So let's take this example. We have the man, that is the subject. Then we have build, that is the verb. And we ask, the man built what? A house. So a house is the direct object because that is the thing that receives the action from the verb. And we can also have something that is called indirect object, that is the receipt of the direct object, okay? The recipient of the direct object. So in this case, to identify it, we need to ask to whom or for whom to the direct object. So first, we need to know what is the subject, what is the verb, what is the direct object, and then we can see if there is an indirect object. And we do kind of the same. So we say, okay, the man built what? A house. A house to whom? To his mom. So we make the question to the direct object to know if there is a recipient of this direct object. We're going to see some more examples to be a little bit clear. So it says, how can I identify the direct object? As far as we know now, we need to ask who or what after the subject and the verb. Let's see this example. Here in the red part, we have the subject of the sentence, the doer of the action, the person that is performing something or the thing that is being described. In this case, the subject is Jennifer. And in this white part, we have the predicate that always has the verb, right? The verb, the action or state in this case is sings. So now that we know what is the subject and what is the verb, we can ask the question. And we say, Jennifer sings what? Jennifer canta ¿qué? Una canción, a song. So that is the direct object. And let's see if there is an indirect object in the following exercise. So we have the very same example for this, and we're going to ask to whom or for whom after the direct object. So let's see this. Again, in this red part is the subject and it says Jennifer. She is doing the action actively in this sentence. Then we have the predicate, that is the verb and its parts, right? And first, we need to know what is the subject, what is the verb. Then we need to know if there is a direct object. And then we ask the question to know if there is an indirect object. So first we say, as we know, Jennifer sings what? A song, right? A song to whom? To his mom. So she is the recipient of the direct object. Jennifer canta ¿qué? Una canción. Objeto directo. Una canción ¿a quién? A su mamá. Objeto indirecto. We're going to see just some things that we need to remember, okay? First is that we need to find, or we are going to find actually the objects, whether it's direct or indirect, after we know and we are sure what is the subject and what is the verb. So that is first, subject, verb, and then the direct or indirect object. And also we need to know that not all sentences have direct or indirect objects. Okay, so just some of them have, because some other sentences have other parts in their predicates. So we need to do the right questions to find them. Here are two sentences to practice a little bit more. And the first one is this one. So it says, Angela answered many questions. We're going to see if there is a direct object here or an indirect object. So first we need to focus on the verb, right? We need to find it. And we're going to see what is the word that is the action or the state in this sentence. And here we know that the action or state is answered. So that is my verb. And I need to identify the subject. So I know that from here to here, this is the predicate. And I'm going to ask, okay, who or what answered many questions? Angela. So that is my subject. She is doing the action here. And now that I know the subject and the verb, I'm going to look for the direct object. And I ask, Angela answered what? Many questions, right? So that is the direct object. Angela respondió ¿qué? Muchas preguntas. Esa es la cosa que recibe la acción del verbo. That is the thing that receives the action of the verb. And then we can ask many questions to whom? Muchas preguntas ¿a quién? And there is no answer. So there is not an indirect object. And it should be recognized like this. So here in the red part, we have the subject. Here we have the predicate, everything that is here in the white part. And this is the verb, right? And that is my direct object. That is many questions. You are asking me a question. In this sentence, we need to look again first for the verb, then for the subject, and then for everything else. We are going to see. So what is the word that is describing the action or the state? In this case is are asking, right? That is the verb. Ese es el verbo completo. Present continuous. Estás preguntando. And I need to look for the subject. So I ask the verb, who or what are asking me a question? You. So you is the subject. You is performing or doing the action in this sentence. Now that I'm clear what is the subject and what is the verb, I need to find if there is a direct or an indirect object. And I ask, you are asking what? A question, right? To whom? To me. So we have, in this case, a direct and an indirect object, and we're going to see. So it looks like this, and here we have it, right? Tú estás preguntando, ¿qué? Una pregunta. Receptor de la acción del verbo, a question. Okay? Una pregunta, ¿a quién? A question to whom? To me. That is the indirect object, the recipient of the direct object. And in the link in the description of this video is going to be a handout for you with some more material related with the subject and the predicate, and also with some exercises for you to practice a little bit more.